Everyone talks about loneliness. Nobody talks about what's actually causing it. And the reason nobody talks about it is because the real answer makes people deeply uncomfortable. What if the thing you've been treating as your biggest flaw is the thing that's been quietly protecting you from a life you would have hated? We were raised to believe that a big circle means you're winning. That being alone means something went wrong. But here's what that story leaves out. The men with the smallest circles are almost never the men who failed socially. They're the men who refused to fake it long enough, to keep people around who weren't worth keeping. And the world punished them for that honesty by calling it a personality flaw. Here's the behavior nobody will say out loud. You have ended friendships or let them quietly die and told yourself it was their fault, or told yourself you got busy, or that you just drifted. But in the moments you're most honest with yourself, you know exactly why those people are gone. You saw something. You felt the mismatch. And instead of confronting it, you just stopped showing up. And you've never told anyone that, because saying it out loud makes you sound cold. But cold isn't the right word. The right word is calibrated. You are not someone who struggles to connect. You are someone whose threshold for real connection is so high that most people disqualify themselves before you ever have to make a decision. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are running a standard that almost nobody in your life has ever been honest enough to meet. And that gap between what you'll accept and what most people offer is the loneliest place a man can live. But it is not a weakness. It is the price of being someone worth actually knowing. I'm going to show you 7 traits that explain exactly why your circle is the size it is. But one of them, you are actively hiding from yourself right now, and you'll know which one it is the moment I say it. Trait 1, the first trait. You see through people, and you see through them fast. Not eventually, not after they've hurt you. Within minutes, you catch the slight hesitation before the answer, the enthusiasm that doesn't reach the eyes, the way someone talks about people who aren't in the room, the version of themselves they perform, versus the one that leaks through when they think you're not watching. You notice all of it, and here's the behavior you hide because of it. You have sat across from someone, a friend, a co-worker, someone you just met, smiled, nodded, engaged, while knowing with complete certainty that you will never let that person close to you, not because of anything they did, because of something you felt, and you've never admitted that. Because it sounds arrogant. It's not arrogance. It's the most expensive gift you were ever given, and nobody told you the cost. The cost is this. When you see through everyone quickly, almost no one ever feels like enough. And instead of that being a tragedy, that is exactly where we start. Trait 2. The second trait is one you will recognize immediately, and then immediately deny. You have a version of yourself that you perform in public, and you are exhausted by it. Not because you're fake. You're not fake, because the version of you that other people are comfortable with is a reduced version, smaller, quieter, easier to be around. You learned to do this early. You noticed that when you were fully yourself, people got uncomfortable. Too intense, too direct, too much. So you dialed it down. You softened the edges. You laughed at things that weren't funny. You agreed with things you didn't believe. And it worked, in the sense that people stayed. But here's the behavior you've never said out loud. There are people in your life right now who have known you for years, who have never once met the real you. And part of you prefers it that way, because the real you has been rejected before. Not loudly, not cruelly, just quietly not chosen. And that quiet rejection did something to you that you've never fully named. It taught you that depth is dangerous, that being fully known is a risk. Most relationships aren't built to survive. So you kept the performance running and called the distance that created being private. It's not privacy, it's armor. And the weight of wearing it every day is why you come home and feel relief when you're finally alone. Not because you don't want connection, because you are exhausted from pretending that the connection you've been offered is enough. Trait 3. Your standards didn't push people away. They revealed exactly who was always going to leave the moment something real was required of them. This is the one that's going to be hard to sit with. You have standards you've never fully admitted to yourself. Not for money, not for status, for depth. You need the people around you to mean what they say, to do what they said they would do, to be genuinely building something, instead of just performing the idea of building something. And year after year, almost everyone failed that test. Not because they were bad people, because they were comfortable, satisfied with fine. And you are not satisfied with fine. Spending time with people who are satisfied with fine feels like slow suffocation. So you pulled back. And then the voice started, maybe your standards are just defense mechanisms. Maybe you're too difficult. Maybe the problem is you. Here's what I need you to hear. That voice is the most dangerous lie you have ever believed about yourself. Because here's what actually happened. You didn't have high standards and end up alone. You had high standards and finally stopped lying to yourself about what you were settling for. And that moment of honesty cost you almost everyone. That's not a character flaw. That's the loneliest kind of integrity there is. Trait 4. Think about the last 18 months. Something shifted. You got serious about your body, your finances, your mind. You stopped laughing at the same things. You stopped being available in the same ways. And then, almost without noticing, the room emptied. They called you too intense, too serious. They said you've changed, like it was an accusation. And here's the behavior nobody talks about. You let them say it. You sat there and absorbed it, nodded, maybe even apologized. When what you actually felt underneath was that their comfort with who you used to be was starting to feel like a cage. You didn't change and lose people. You changed and discovered that some people were only there for the version of you that needed them. The moment you stopped needing them, they had nothing left to offer. Your growth became a mirror, and people will destroy a mirror before they face what it shows them. You are not losing people because you are getting worse. You are losing them because you are getting more. And the hardest thing you will ever have to accept is that some of the people you loved most were only capable of loving the smaller version of you. Not because they were cruel, because your growth asked something of them. They didn't know how to give. And you outgrew them before either of you realized it was happening. Trait 5. At some point you stopped bringing your problems to people. Not because you didn't have them, because every time you tried, the conversation became more exhausting than the problem itself. People projected their fear onto your situation. They made it about themselves. They offered advice that revealed they hadn't heard a word you said. And you walked away feeling more alone than before you opened your mouth. So you went internal. And here's the behavior you hide because of it. Someone asks how you're doing, and you say fine. Not because you are fine, because the real answer would require you to trust them with something, and you already know they won't know what to do with it. So you protect them from the weight of you, and then resent the distance that creates. People call you emotionally unavailable. They say you're not vulnerable enough. What they don't understand is that you've been vulnerable, and what happened after is exactly why you stopped. What you built instead is internal sovereignty, the ability to sit with something heavy without needing someone else to make it lighter. That is rare, it is isolating, and it is one of the most psychologically stable configurations a man can possess. But sovereignty without output becomes a pressure cooker. Right, not softly, like you're building a case. Externalize the weight without becoming dependent on someone else to carry it. The man who understands himself completely is the hardest man in any room to manipulate. Trait 6. Something inside you dies during small talk. You're at an event. Someone approaches. Within 30 seconds, you know exactly where it's going. Weather, weekend. That show everyone's watching. You perform the ritual. You say the right things. You smile at the right moments. But something in you is elsewhere, and they feel it. And here's the behavior you've hidden even from yourself. You have sabotaged conversations on purpose. Not consciously, but you have given one-word answers. Let silences go too long. Failed to ask the follow-up question you knew would keep things moving, because some part of you was testing them, waiting to see if they'd push past the surface or take the easy exit. They almost always took the exit, and you told yourself that proved your point. But what it actually proved is that you were never really in the room. You were watching the room. What they read as arrogance is a man whose mind requires more than most conversations are built to offer. Stop going to rooms where the ceiling is small talk. Find rooms organized around a skill, a problem, a pursuit. Small talk becomes a bridge when it's going somewhere real. Trait 7. It's late. Everyone else is asleep, and you're still awake. Not scrolling, not avoiding, thinking about a version of your life that doesn't exist yet, but that you can feel as clearly as anything real. A specific future, a specific standard, a specific man you are becoming. And the people around you have no idea, not because you haven't tried to explain it, because when you did, they smiled politely and changed the subject. And here's the behavior you've never admitted. You stopped sharing the vision, not because it got smaller, because you got tired of watching people shrink it with their doubt. So now you carry it alone. At 11 p.m. on a Wednesday, while the world sleeps, they call you distant, unavailable, too focused on something they can't see. Every man who ever built something that outlasted him was described in exactly those words by the people who couldn't see far enough to stand next to him. Write the vision down in concrete terms, not motivation language, specific language. Where are you in 3 years? What does the work look like? What does the day look like? Then find one person already living at that level. Study them. One proof of concept that your life is buildable will carry you further than 100 people who can't see the blueprint. 7 traits. 7 reasons for the silence that nobody gave you. And 7 things that are not flaws. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not the problem. You are a specific kind of man, built for a specific kind of life. And the ordinary world was never designed to accommodate you comfortably. That is not a consolation. That is the entire game. But here is what I haven't told you yet. These 7 traits don't just explain why your circle is small. They make you a specific kind of target. The same depth that makes you hard to know makes you extraordinarily valuable to the wrong person once they figure out how to get through the door. There is a psychological playbook used on men exactly like you. Most of you have already experienced it. You just didn't have a name for what happened to you. That is the next video. I'll see you there.